Antonio. Today is March 9th. We have a representative from SAAF going to be here to talk to us tonight, and we're also going to be discussing the ABCs of sexual identity as another topic we're going to be discussing tonight. In our COVID tracking, we have 171 new cases. We couldn't find anything about this, so we're going to make an assumption there were 0 deaths. So that's great news compared to what we have had. Reminder that even though the mask policy is ending tomorrow, if you come to one of our meetings, you will have to wear a mask. You will have to get your temperature. We do have hand sanitizer, so just keep that in mind if you ever want to come visit us. And if you're wise, even after the mask mandate ends tomorrow, you will be wearing a mask just to protect yourself and those around you. We have Anna DeLuna from SAAF who's coming up here to speak with us tonight, and she's going to kind of tell us all about SAAF. I'll wipe you down. There you go.
Thank you. Hi. Hi, everybody. I don't know how you want me to do this, just kind of introduce myself and say some of the services that we offer.
Yeah, we'll probably be asking you questions.
Oh, okay.
Throughout, so.
All right. So my name is Anna DeLuna, and I work at the San Antonio AIDS Foundation, and I'm an HIV test counselor. I started working there in 2007, and I've been there part-time off and on since. I used to work at the education department, and but now I'm primarily doing testing. I also, on the side, I do theater, and some of the theater that I produce and perform in has to do with like HIV prevention and trying to encourage people to get tested. All right. So right now, many of you know about the San Antonio AIDS Foundation. Some of you are clients there. And so basically, we've been around since, I think, 1992 with Papa Bear with our founder. And as a place, it was the first HIV service organization in San Antonio that provided services to clients. So we still do that. And we also have a clinic now. We have a couple of doctors on staff to help people manage their medications and their health. And we also have case management to help people navigate like how to get into care, Ryan White and all of that. And we have a kitchen. We serve 3 meals a day every day of the year for all our clients that are positive that need that service as well. We have transitional housing. If someone needs a place to live, they're our client, they're HIV positive, they can go through this house on Carson Street, which is a block away from us. And they could, get into our program, stay in there for 6 months, and after they graduate from that program, then they are able to get HOPWA housing on their own in their own apartment. And we do education, and we talk to over 25,000 people a year, usually pre-COVID, about how to protect themselves against HIV and other sexually transmitted infections, and then also just to promote testing and services. And just letting people know, even if someone's positive, like, U equals U, undetectable equals untransmittable, just trying to get people to know that there are a lot of people out there that are HIV positive that are doing very well, and trying to reduce that stigma. Currently, right now with HIV testing, we always have done like free HIV testing. And the test that we do right now for HIV, it's a finger stick. It's a rapid test. It's called an Insti, and you get results in 1 minute. Okay, and anybody can get tested as long as they're 13 or over. They can get tested with us. We also offer the past, I would say about 5 years, we started offering free syphilis testing as well, which is also a finger stick, and you get results for that in 10 minutes. And we started doing that because of the huge rise of syphilis in Bexar County, and we wanted to make sure that people were screened for that because syphilis is very serious. It's also curable, but very, very serious. So we wanted to make sure people were, getting the information out there and getting tested. It's also hit like our LGBTQ community very hard, and so we wanted to make sure that people were getting checked for that regularly as well. So starting a few months ago, we also started testing people for chlamydia and gonorrhea if they have sex with men. So we had a special grant for men who have sex with men, so that gay or bisexual men can also get tested for chlamydia and gonorrhea. And what that entails is if they're tops, or if they've also had vaginal sex with women, would be a urine sample. And if they bottom, it's a rectal swab that they do on their own in the bathroom. And so we send those specimens off to check for chlamydia and gonorrhea. So it's not a rapid thing. They do take about a week to come back. And then, we send it to a lab. And if someone does have chlamydia or gonorrhea, we do send them over to the City of San Antonio Metro Health District to get treatment there for free if needed, okay? Also, if someone tests positive for syphilis, we let them know they can go to Metro Health and also get treated for free as needed. And if someone tests positive with us for HIV, we do have a linkage to care, so we try to get them like in a rapid start program, get them into care that same week, and also get them set up with case management. A lot of people don't have insurance, don't have money, or maybe they do work, many hours, but they work for a place that doesn't provide them insurance. So we try to set them up with case management so that they can get into care, get their medications, and not have to worry about that. So we're doing a lot of different things since COVID happened. Definitely our resources, we had the resources, but we just didn't have the means to do them. So we were all sent home for a few months. And it really sucked because we couldn't provide the services that we needed to. And then a lot of, people were obviously, maybe at first bunkering down and thinking, oh, okay, I'm gonna social distance, I'm not gonna go out and have sex, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody was telling us, stay home, don't do anything, stay with your family. Well, that's all fine and dandy if you're married or you have a relationship, but if you're single, it's kind of a long time to go without sex for a while. And then especially since we thought this pandemic was just gonna be a few months and we get to go back to our regular lives, and obviously that has not happened, we started realizing people are gonna go out and they're gonna have sex because we're human beings, and that's just, our biological nature. But we wanted people to say, hey, yes, you can go out and you can have sex. You just got to be careful about it. And then it's also open up our testing again. So one of the things that we started doing was we started doing at-home test kits. People could call and do an online assessment or an on-phone assessment, and they could actually come to our location and pick up oral swab HIV test kits. So they would just pick them up, take them home, do the test on their own. All right. And then, we've continued to do that for some people who just want some more, privacy and anonymity. And we're doing that with UT Health right now. It's a program that we have with them. But also, people can now, just call and just say, hey, are you doing testing? At first we started testing again in the summer. People had to make an appointment. And we just had to figure it all out, and then now people can it's kind of like business as usual. You don't have to make an appointment. You just come in, drop in the time that we do free testing, and you can get taken care of. Another thing that we have definitely to give out is a lot of condoms and a lot of lube. We have a lot at our agency right now because we were not able to disseminate as much during the pandemic. So if anybody needs this is something that they can definitely come and pick up. So we're just really, out there every day. We're, out there, and people are, we're not as out there, we're not going to places right now in our mobile unit like we used to. We used to go to a lot of college events, community activities. And since then, we haven't been able to do that. Hopefully we will soon. We've been in the office and we're working really hard. I gotta give it to all the testers at the AIDS Foundation and all the other HIV service providers in town, just really trying to be there and help people during this difficult time. And just saying, hey, we're still here. We're still working hard. We're still here for you. And it's important, especially if you're having sex, to come in and get taken care of. Or somebody that might be positive and just kind of hasn't been in care for a while. Hey, come visit us. Let's help get you back into care. I know sometimes you fall in and out of it. It's okay. Let's just get back into it. So we do have we have case managers that are working from home, but sometimes once a week they come in and they do work, so people are still able to receive all their services. And we're just really trying to work it, trying to do the best we can, with keeping people safe. I don't know if y'all have any questions. I know I kind of, talked a lot. Yes.
Someone in the chat asked if you guys are currently hiring counselors.
for HIV test counselors?
No.
Or for counselors? Oh, like for like mental health? Oh, okay.
Substance abuse?
Substance abuse? Oh, okay. I don't know the answer to that question. I don't think so. Because I have it usually, like, they'll post it and we'll all see it and everything. But I don't think at the moment we are. But I always, like, keep an eye out on our web page, our Facebook page, and we always post like an Indeed, because we do have that service. I know we have two, and so our clients are able to receive counseling for free, which is great. Yes.
Okay, with COVID, I know a lot of places do not accept clients who go in face-to-face.
Mm-hmm.
Now that so-called everything's opening tomorrow, is that changing with
No.
you guys, or you guys are still gonna?
Right, that it was crazy. But our executive director, Charisse Allegheny, she wrote, as soon as that happened, she wrote an email to all of us saying we are definitely following the mask mandate. We are not listening to Greg Abbott. We are still requiring that our staff wear masks, and that anyone who comes in for testing is also wearing a mask. So the way we started testing was curbside. People would just drive up and call us and let us know they were here, and we would go out to them and we would ask them, hey, when your tester approaches you, you need to wear a mask too. But now, because we're doing a lot of chlamydia and gonorrhea testing, we do invite people inside. We take their temperature and they must wear a mask. If they're not wearing a mask, we will not serve them. Yeah, so that's very important.
Is that the only reason you allow anybody to come in, is if they're doing the chlamydia test?
Yeah, well, we did have some people come in, like, say, for example, like if they were testing outdoors just for HIV and syphilis, and maybe they tested positive for either HIV or syphilis, we would bring them in and do a blood draw. And so, but now it's just a lot more people coming in. And luckily, we were very fortunate to, all the testing staff has been vaccinated twice. So that helps us a lot. We are very grateful to have that, because we are around a lot of people. And then sometimes they have to take off their mask when they come in. Sometimes they get a little woozy from a blood draw, or they need like some hydration, for the urine sample. So we have to give them like water, and they have to take off their mask to like drink that, And so, or maybe they start crying, or you know what I mean? It's kind of crazy, So occasionally someone does take off their mask very briefly to drink water or something like that, but they have to wear a mask, and we can turn them away if they don't. Often, like when people come in and they drive up to get tested, sometimes how like you forget to wear your mask, like if you go through the drive-through to buy something and you're there and like, oh, what I mean? And you're, and sometimes they forget too, so we have to remind them, hey, can you, put your mask on? And can you like cover your nose, and can all of that stuff. And people have been great. I personally haven't had anyone just refuse to wear a mask, and I have not had to tell somebody, hey, you have to go now because we can't help you. So our executive director is also an epidemiologist, used to work for the city of San Antonio Metro Health District, has studied infectious diseases most of her life, and she's totally on board with the mask mandate and making sure that everybody in our office is safe, and all the people, a lot of our clients haven't been vaccinated, We want to, and they're hanging out, like picking up meals and stuff. Sometimes they have to go to the clinic. We got to take care of them. So definitely masks are still required. We're not listening to Greg Abbott.
I want to ask a question, Anna, for people that might be tuning in. I'm going to go back a little bit to where you were saying you refer out to Metro Health for some of the follow-ups and stuff. Do you know, does Metro Health work like your agency works? So if someone were to come in for something in your agency, the HIPAA law applies. I mean, I'm sure they have the HIPAA law, but is it, what is the word that I'm looking for? Do you know if they take the same issue, the way that you guys do, try to keep it very confidential? All your counseling is, no one really stays in that area. And I'm just wondering, do you know if they do the same thing like that?
They're supposed to.
Because I had someone asked me this a couple months back, and I didn't know what to ask him. I said, I've been to Metro Health, but it's been a while. I don't know, and they were concerned about being grouped with people in a room, and nothing to do with COVID, but more like, what if someone sees me and they're going to know, oh, I'm over here possibly in the syphilis treatment line, something like that. Do you know that answer?
I don't know, because I'm not there. I know that they're very careful with us, because we do have to share information with them regularly. So if someone tests positive for HIV or syphilis, we do have to share that information because they're our local health department by law. After that, we can't, or they can't share it without that client's permission, and so I know there's times where I've had to contact them about a client, and there are many times they've had to contact us about clients. And we are always very careful about how we do that, and hey, doors are closed, no one can hear me talking. Say if I test something that tests positive, and then I have to share that information with Metro, I'm going to close the door in my office and talk about this person. You know what I mean? I'm going to make sure that all my paperwork, I'm not leaving paperwork out. Even though we're not having a lot of people come into the office, you still hey, nobody needs to know this. You know what I mean? As far as people seeing you when you're out in public, I'm not sure how we can curtail that. Say for example, I have a guy and then he sees another guy walking by and they're like, hell no, you know what I mean? And or they're just really embarrassed or something like that. I mean, we can't prevent that, But sometimes, when we bring, now when I bring somebody in my office, if I have to draw their blood or do something, I will keep the door ajar, but I'll have some, white noise or something like that, and I keep it ajar now because of COVID, so that there's some airflow and everything like that, and most people are fine with that, So when you're there at Metro, at Metro Health, there's a lot more people. They probably have more of a challenge of trying to make sure that everybody's got some privacy. I know if they're dealing with them medically, then it has to be private, and I'm trusting that that's what they're doing. I haven't heard anybody coming from there saying that, everyone saw all the things I was going through. But I'm not sure how it is in their waiting area, because I have not gone there, which I might kind of want to do just to check it out, so I can see how.
That's how it was, because when it was asked, the person is in care, but I think was going to have to go for a treatment possibly, and so they were familiar with the way that all the AOS with Ryan White funding work, but they were like, well, we don't ever hear the health department or hear anything from the health department. That was, I think, a fear going into the unknown.
Yeah.
Rather than, in our community bubble.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask another question. Were you going to ask?
Yeah, I do want to ask something, because I haven't heard. I've actually asked, I think everybody that's taken this question.
Wait, there's a question from the group.
Okay, go ahead.
The question is, the question from someone in the audience is, why isn't herpes testing included with the other STI tests? And then they said, if there's a specific test for it. So they're not sure that whether there is or not. So can you address the herpes?
Right. So we don't have herpes testing at the AIDS Foundation, and I don't know anyone who does. I know that Metro doesn't, Beat AIDS doesn't, Planned Parenthood doesn't. A lot of people are freaked out about herpes, and they think that they can just go to a clinic and get tested to see if they have it.
Yeah,
So,
who does the testing?
well, most clinics will only deal with that if you're having an outbreak that they can see, okay? And now a lot of people say, well, you can have herpes and not have an outbreak. Yes, but all the clinics, it's so expensive to have lab work done to see if someone's got HSV2 general, herpes simplex 2, that they're not going to do it. And you can go to LabCorp online and pay $300 to have this full panel, which would include HSV2, herpes simplex virus 2. And those tests are not really, they're kind of inconclusive. They scare people. That they pretty much tell everybody, oh yes, you have herpes. You know what I mean? A lot of us have been exposed to these things, and for whatever reason, it didn't manifest into an outbreak. And so, so when you go to a clinic and you think like, oh, I want to get tested for herpes, why don't you do that? And they're like, well, because of this, you know. And the same thing with warts, like human papilloma. I want to get tested for warts, you know. Again, a lot of clinics aren't going to just do a wart test, you know. They want to see, do you have warts? Let me see, you know. So that's why it's important, like whenever somebody has like a sore, a blister or whatever, to go and get checked when that sore or blister is there and a clinician can see it. Because once it goes away, we're just like, you know, and sometimes they can, you know, you might have something and you really want to get checked out. But unfortunately, unless you have an outbreak, a lot of clinics are going to be like, you know, no, we're not going to test for that. We don't have the resources for that
I
here.
was going to jump in and add to that. So the only one that I know of, because I go through facts, so University Health Facts will allow you once a year to add on the HPV, the herpes testing, and then when you were saying like the different warts and stuff, they will, the doctor will physically do a swab. I think initially they just do a visual, and if they think something, then they do a swab.
And that's a fax clinic for people that are HIV positive. Yeah, so it's not like the general university system, like anybody can ask for that. Yeah. Yeah.
I always forget that we encircle all these answers. I'll say that yes, fax is only an HIV.
Yeah.
People living with HIV.
But that's good to know because, like, if somebody's watching this now that's positive and they know maybe they can, you know, request that at the fax clinic, especially if they're a client there and they didn't even know they could do that, you know. I'm not sure at our care clinic. Maybe we do that. I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to ask, because we ask everyone who's come, what is the process that you go through? If someone comes into you and they are, say, newly positive, what is your process for getting them into client care and making referrals and whatever they need to go to? What is the process of how to do that?
So if somebody tests positive for the first time right then and there, we have 2 staff members that we call client intake specialists. So what they'll do, you know, I'll introduce them, and they're pretty much always there, you know, Javier and Viola. And so they're not working remotely, you know. And I'll go and if they're like, and it also depends on the client, because sometimes they're just, you know, really not in the place to follow up at that moment. But a lot of times they are. I mean, they might be a little out of it, you know. A lot of times, so people that test positive with us kind of have an idea that they might be positive, so they're a little bit more prepared, you know. But when they usually do meet one of our intake specialists, and what that person does is they will like immediately like set them up an appointment with the case manager and set them up for appointment for labs and eligibility for all of those things. So right away they're going to get appointments before they leave. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, we walk them over to the clinic, you know, and then sometimes we're like, look, there's this rapid start program where people can like immediately like kind of get into care, even see a doctor that day or the next day. It's like, which agency is open right now for rapid start for a brand new person? And so sometimes they're ready for that, sometimes they're not, but we definitely do that.
Is the process the same for, let's say somebody who was not tested at SAAF, let's say they were tested at Metro, come in, is the process basically the same?
If they've already known that they've previously tested positive and they tested at Metro, then we will contact them and say, hey, do you have this person's proof of positivity? So maybe I don't have to do a blood draw. I mean, they're already kind of in a database of Aries. And that way, but still they might like, you know what, I tested positive at Metro, but I haven't gotten into care, or maybe I was somewhere and I fell out of that and I want to get back into it, or maybe I didn't like, you know, this doctor, I want to try this, you know, whatever. So we can, the same process, you know, well, hey, let's introduce you to our intake case managers, you know, and they're usually able to find out that person's proof of positivity and then get them going.
I know you mentioned who are your intake counselors?
Javier and Viola, yeah, they're really great. Really, I mean, they're super compassionate. That's like a big deal. It's like we have to hire people that really want to be there, that care. That's not just a job. It's just punching in and out, you know. And they're great. They're really nice.
I do want to say something about Javier. He is really good. He is very good. I this, I won't say person, but employee also, because I've dealt with him many times.
Yeah.
And he absolutely, he'll call you back within an hour, which is like
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. And he's there on Saturday too sometimes because we do Saturday testing and he'll show up. It was so funny. I was there for Saturday testing this past week and then he showed up. I was like, what are you doing here? He was like, oh. He moved on. Yes.
I've used the identical assistance through you guys
Mm-hmm.
and it's perfect.
Great.
I lost my teeth to my age infection and I'm going to get an implant soon. And my wife is going to be a part of that. So it's really great. I was going to ask if you guys provide any assistance for those that live with HIV or AIDS with electric bills or anything like that. I mean, is that part of what you do or not necessarily?
There have been times where we have been able to do that if the money was there. I don't know if it is right now. And that's a good question because of everything that went on with our, recent weather. Because some people might definitely need help with that, Yeah, and but I know there have been times that that we have been able to do that, and so I'm not sure, but that's a really good question. I'll ask, and afterwards, if you give me your information, I'll let you know.
But yeah, the Ryan White has
Yeah.
been great with my dental care.
Yeah.
I go to UT Dental and they're amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm glad they're able to help you out. Yeah.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Recently during the snowstorm, you got to let clients stay.
Mhm.
What part of them were staying and what precautions did you take before and after they
Mhm.
were
Right.
there?
So we have a few clients that are homeless and they would hang out right outside, our facility on a regular basis, and they've tried. Some of them have tried to be part of our residential skilled, residential temporary housing, and have gone through that process. But there's for whatever reason they would never complete the process, and get their own apartment. So they're just kind of would hang out, and that was fine. For the most part, really nice guys, and so it was freezing. We're like, oh my gosh, we can't just let them hang out here. It's below 32. So Charisse, our executive director, and Teresa, our nutritional director, decided let's open up our dining hall. It's been closed since COVID. Now clients have to come and pick up meals and to go, plates and stuff. But look, they can sleep here. There was only 4 or 5 of them, so it's kind of a room about this size. So they were all spaced out. They had their sleeping bags and their things and stuff. And so they would just spend the night there. And Charisse was spending, I think, she spent 3 nights there with them, our executive director. I spent 1 night with them. And then we had a security guard and everything. And I wore masks, and, they were sleeping. So it was just they don't have to wear a mask while they were asleep. And they were pretty spaced out. And so a couple of nights they stayed there, and I think maybe 2 nights they spent the night at our transitional housing on Carson Street as well. And, they just have to follow all the rules with it, And so it was warm. We have a generator, so, we always had heat there. There was running water. They were able to take a shower and all of that. It was... I don't know how many nights it was, but then when the temperature went above freezing, then we don't have the staff to stay there. So then we would call I took one gentleman over to Travis Park Church there. They found him a bed, and we just tried our best. I was like, hey, we can help you out, take these places, but we're not we're not a shelter. But we try to stay open, at least for our clients. And then Teresa came in and she made all these meals, warm meals. So so that was something that we were able to do.
If y'all don't have a service that's safe, what do y'all do to find a service for a client?
What do we do to?
Let's say there's somebody comes in and asks for a service that y'all don't offer. What efforts do y'all make to try to find that service someplace else for the client?
I think that's I'm sure we do try. I know that that's probably a good question for one of our case managers, because honestly I'm in testing, so I don't know but I see all of them are really great. like I said again, hardworking, compassionate. You know, they try their best to make sure that the clients are taken care of.
Is there something going on with your guys' phones?
Sometimes, yeah. Do you ever try to call and it's like, what the hell? Yeah. Sometimes there is. Right now, I think it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, we've had some problems with phones for sure. That's for sure. Yeah.
Because you call and you can't get through to anybody.
Yeah. Like, we have one receptionist, which is kind of like a two-person job, really. And so, and then if she's on break, we don't have the staff to cover it. So the testers, sometimes we're always trying to pick up the phones and then trying to test people, you know, that kind of thing. So it has been like sometimes, you know, difficult. Yeah.
But you're not the only agency out there who has problems like that.
Yeah.
I've heard of other agencies also had issues of not being short-staffed. Well, that's being short-staffed because of COVID, stuff like that. And they have to do their job and the job of someone else on top of that. And it's hard to get to the phone sometimes.
And then,
It's understandable.
we were relying a lot on, especially like after hours for testing, we were relying a lot on volunteers to be there and answer the phones for us while we were testing. And then, of course, we can't have that now. And so when I'm there, especially like on a like a Saturday or maybe a Tuesday evening, we do flight testing, the phone's just ringing and I don't have like, the capability to answer it if I'm like testing somebody, you know what I mean? So just like, try to get back to it, you know? So yeah, it's been a challenge. Yeah, we need, we definitely probably need more people to help answer those phones. But you know what, I'm gonna let Charisse know that you mentioned that, because we do need more help.
Yeah, no, because I went to go fill out a survey for you guys and mentioned that, and your guys' surveys weren't available.
Oh wow. Like a client, like sort of satisfaction. Oh, okay. All right. And also I think if you might want to, like, I think Dean Bada is also, he's somebody that works there that is also about, his position is about, us adhering to like our client services and satisfaction as well. He's another person that you can talk to and he's actually there. But I'll bring up the phone things to Charisse because that's important. Like we're supposed to, like, that's our mission statement is provide, compassionate care to our clients. And we can't if we're not able to answer the phone,
Thank you.
Can you give us your address, the name of the organization, and the hours again?
Yes, okay.
Just
All right. So we're the San Antonio AIDS Foundation. We are located at 818 East Grayson Street, and our phone number is 210-225-4715. And hopefully, if you call, somebody answers the phone. And definitely, if you call somebody in testing, we will return your call. We are open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for like our office, our services, our clinic. And for testing, we test people 8:30 to 4 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. On Tuesday, we have late testing. We test from 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. On Friday, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and on Saturday, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
I do have a question. Someone asked, can people volunteer to answer the phones, and how would they go about it?
Okay, so we do have volunteers that can work there. We do have a volunteer application online, or they can go in to pick one up. And they have to go through a criminal background check and also an HIV 101 awareness class, which actually our education team is still doing, virtually. But right now we haven't had a lot of people come in the building because of COVID, So I'm hoping that changes, more people get vaccinated. So we'll be able to, because we really, relied on their help a lot, And I tell people, somebody asked me yesterday, I was testing somebody, and then afterwards she was like, hey, I'd like to volunteer here. I was like, well, that's awesome. Fill out the application, and hopefully we'll get back into that. because
Where
we
they
do.
go, fill out the application?
You can come and pick it up at the front desk, ring the bell, and our receptionist Megan will, open the door, and then she can give you a physical copy of the application, or you can fill it out online on our website.
Now, what happens if they were fully vaccinated? Would they allow them to volunteer now with no COVID if they weren't vaccinated?
That's a good question. I don't think we've even gotten to that discussion yet, but that would be great. I mean, if you see the CDC yesterday saying, like, if 2 people have been vaccinated,
Yeah.
they're okay with being in a room together by themselves. You know what I mean? So yeah, that would be great. That's why we're always telling people, get vaccinated. I was talking to one of our clients today. He's a good friend of mine, and he's got his doubts still about being vaccinated. I'm like, dude, and get it. And then I was just telling him, I was like, look, the more of us that get vaccinated, the sooner we'll be able to get back to, our lives, and the more support we'll get. It's been hard trying to wing this, agency on our own, without support. Yeah. Yeah.
The person was vaccinated.
Yeah. I think right now we only have like 25% of people in San Antonio that have received 1 vaccine, not 2. Probably maybe only 10% that have received both vaccines. And so that's not enough. We need a lot more. And then we can probably have that conversation with Charisse, our executive director, say, you know what, let's bring back some volunteers, because we definitely need the help for sure. It's tough. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired. When I leave there every day, I love it. And we're helping people, but I am like spent because we don't have as much support as we used to.
Well, Anna, I want to say thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I bought some gifts.
She brought some gifts for us. Hope we can have you come back again at some time.
Yeah,
in the future.
definitely.
We'd love to have you here.
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Coming up next to discuss the ABCs of sexual identity is Marc, Leo, and Sylvia. Let me clean up your little.
Done it before.
I don't know why I thought Jerry was cleaning up again. Start, Leo? Jace, can you check be sure we're all in it?
Check the what?
We're all in it.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, Leo's in it.
Oh, rude.
We tried.
Okay. So I wanted to talk, Marc and I wanted to talk about this topic because we kind of brushed up on it when we were doing COPA back at BEAT, but I feel like it deserves another conversation just because, there are so many sexual identities out there that, they really just need to be talked about so that way you can, if you are still questioning who you are or how you identify, hopefully we can help lead you in the right direction. So obviously everybody knows about the LGBTQIA plus alphabet, right?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Since you guys are a bit older than me,
It's called.
I never thought of myself that way, but thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
since you guys have much more experience in the
Okay,
field
that
than me,
sounds better.
when did the term LGBTQIA come into existence?
The IA was added not too far back in our history. I mean, I'm just talking less than 5 years ago, probably. But as far as LGBTQ, I'm not even sure when that happened. I mean, you were either gay or you weren't, and then we started adding, then we made letters out of it.
Well, I think starting in the early 70s, it was just LGBT.
Made,
Lesbian, gay, and bi.
Wayne, is there a way you could look it up for us?
Or GLB. Because a lot of times it was
It
just-
was like, I think
Look
it
up what?
was
ambivalent means two different things. It can be queer and questioning.
Yeah.
You know, so I, personally speaking, you know, I'm glad and not glad that I'm up here talking about this, because as an older person, as Leo claims I am,
Yes.
I myself, I'm not speaking for Living Positive, I'm not speaking for anyone, I kind of take offense at all the letters, because we're just identifying and sub-identifying, and we're just grouping into so many people, and yet we're the same people that say, well, we want to all be one, you know? So I don't get that part, you know, why we're making so many groups. We have somebody who wants to say something.
I'm just going to tell you, because I looked it up, LGBTQIA+, a common abbreviation for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, pansexual, transgender, genderqueer, queer intersex, agender, asexual, and other queer identifying communities. That's what it's listed as.
I asked what I was.
But when did it come out?
I don't think, well,
So to kind of touch on Sylvia's point, why does it matter? So sexuality has to, well, no, that's what it says on the paper. Because, I mean, in a sense, you know, we all want to be one community, whatever, so why are we categorizing ourselves individually? So I think this kind of touches up on that. So it says that sexuality has to do with the way that you identify, how you experience sexual and romantic attractions, if you even do so, and your interests in and preferences around sexual and romantic relationships and behaviors. Familiarizing yourself with the language that describes different types of sexual and romantic feelings will help you, your partners, and your friends navigate and understand the many ways people experience and identify their sexuality. So, for me specifically, you know, I used to be very sexually active, maybe 8-9 years ago. I was living in Dallas. And then as I came to San Antonio, it just kind of tapered, and now it's pretty much non-existent. And so, you know, there are actually a lot of people who are in their 40s or 50s that are married and they have children. And, sir, you cannot be having a soda.
No, you cannot.
Anyway, okay, so there are people in their 40s and 50s who are married and have children, and they've seen their sexual drive decline. And not just because they're suffering from ED or, you know, whatever, it's because their bodies are going through, you know, a chemical change, and now are identifying as asexuals. You know, they don't like, they're not, you know, they think that sex isn't the most important thing in a relationship. You know, it's something that they don't want to have with their partner anymore. So going back to me, I had been kind of going through a quarter life crisis, trying to figure out, you know, what was wrong with me or whatever, because I also started to think that, you know, well, sex really isn't something that I care about anymore. It's not something that I'm looking for in a relationship. Like, I mean, I could have sex with someone, but it's not something that is like a deal breaker for me if it doesn't happen. I can go months, years, or whatever without having sex, and I would be perfectly okay with that. And so, you know, the thought of that just kind of freaked me out, because, you know, that's not who I was 8 years ago. You know, 8 years ago I was living in Dallas on Grindr, hooking up with as many people as I could, and now it's a complete 180. So I did some research, and I did look up the term asexuals, which, for those that don't know what asexuals are, they're referred to as aces, but what it is that it's individuals who don't experience sexual attraction to others of any gender. And so when I was looking that up, I was like, okay, this kind of fits what I'm feeling right now, but I do still want to kind of have sex at times. So maybe I'm not asexual, and
You
so
might
while
have- is it- you don't want to have sex with that because, or when you think, is it because you're sexually attracted to somebody, or you just have the urge?
when I want to have sex, it's probably just because it's an urge, and like I don't have to have sex with somebody. I can just do it myself and be happy, and that's it. So while looking through the asexual category, there are subcategories within the asexual umbrella, and so I came up to this term called gray sexual, which in my opinion sounds like you are attracted to older men or
The
older
name
people.
of it, yeah.
Yeah, but in reality it means that you're within the gray area of the sexuality spectrum, so you experience some sexual attraction or desire, but not at the same level or frequency as others, like Santiago, who's constantly, looking for sex.
His phone just being.
So being able to do this research and being able to see the different categories of sexual identity, I was able to find something that I closely identify with, and I've now joined several Facebook groups where I've met people who are going through the same things that I am, and been able to confide with them. I've also been able to confide in another person in this, two people in this group, and I unintentionally help them identify their sexual identity as well.
Yes, me. What are you looking around? I'm over here. Hello.
So does gray sexual, when you said gray sexual, the first thing I thought of was older adults.
You see,
Because
that-
by the time they get to their 70s or 80s, but I mean, if my grandparents were still alive, I'd have a hard time saying my grandparents are asexual. I mean, why do we even have to say that? Why does anybody need to be called anything like that? And I'm still having issues with terms. Don't anybody get upset or offended. If you're trans, you're trans, and you're bi, you're bi. I'm not saying don't, but I'm just saying it's all that subdivision, and I don't understand why, the fact that you've chosen not to participate in sex makes you asexual. Maybe it just makes you not interested in sex right now. Why?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing calling someone straight, or a person calling themselves a straight, or a person calling themselves a lesbian or gay. It is the same thing. They're looking for who they are. And to me, a lot of people know about my sexuality. I really don't give a shit about sex either. I really don't. Don't look at me that way. You don't know me. And so I really don't. And to me, I'm with a partner that understands that it's not going to happen, because it's not because I cannot get hard. Trust me, I can get hard if I want to a certain point, but I don't, because I don't care for it. I'm in love with him. I find him sexy and everything. I just don't want to have sex. And I thought you had a question.
No, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
But how is that fair to your partner?
Okay, when I got involved with my partner, I put everything on the table. When we started talking, I told him this is who I am, and this is what I do and what I don't do. He understood that from the beginning, and he had the option to keep on walking or to stay with me. He chose to stay with me because there's people out there that want to be with you because they want to be with you, not for the sex, not for the dick size or the ass that you have or what have you. It's just because of you. And if someone cannot see that in a person, they don't have no business, or you have no business being with them. Because I know people that are really happy being together for 10 years and not have sex with each other, but it's allowed to go out and have sex with someone else. To me, I never understood how you could do that. but it makes them happy, and that's what it works for them, and that's how it is. If they're happy, they're happy.
So, well, the first part, to answer the question from earlier, it was the turn of the 20th into the 21st century when those letters all came into play. But what you're saying now, we have friends that are, let me get this right here so I don't stumble, because I think this is the perfect time to talk about this. We have friends that were, my one friend was born a woman and is now a man, right? And his partner was born a man and is now a woman. And they got married, but the one that became a man now identifies as a gay man. And so they stay together because they're in love with each other and they're best friends. But they go outside, they don't have sex together anymore because of that.
But you see, it works with them, for
It
them.
works for them.
And you see, and that's what I'm saying. If it works for you, then good. If you're happy, that's all that matters. If you want to be single and keep doing whatever you want to do with anybody, that is your choice. And if it makes you happy, go ahead. I mean, to me, I never understood, and I cannot even tell you how it goes, LGBTQ, whatever, plus MG, whatever. I cannot even, it cannot stay in my head because every time it seems that there's a letter added to it. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean now? But it is what we live in, the society that we live in today. I know who I am. I know what I like. I know where I stand. And this, I guess, what do you want to call it?
Alphabet.
Yes, in this alphabet. I know where I am. So I'm happy with myself. So
Mary Helen brought up a point that I wanted to bring up. You're talking about how it's fine that you don't want to have sex and that it's, you go out and do all this. What about if somebody brought something home to you, some venereal disease, something like that? How would you feel about that?
it brought something what?
If they brought a venereal disease home or something.
Okay, if you're not having sex with your partner, how are you going to get it?
How would you even
That's a
know?
good point.
How would you even know?
But even then, you know, when going into open relationships or seeing other people outside of the relationship, it's always good to set rules and boundaries. You know, I did try an open relationship at one point, and I said as long as I don't know about it, then that's perfectly fine, because if I would know about it, then I would get extremely jealous. So it's really all about just setting those boundaries and making sure that those boundaries aren't crossed, and having complete and utter trust and faith in your partner as well.
Go on, Santiago.
Okay, so I find it very selfish. Meaning, if you're with a partner that doesn't want to, you don't want to have sex with, but then you're still going out having sex with other people, that is not fair. Because then you just don't want to have sex with that person, but you already have sex with everybody.
Okay, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. I'm going to use Leo. Pretend me and Leo. Okay, we're together. We've been together, what, say 5 years. Okay? I don't want to have sex. Okay? Leo's comfortable with that. But Leo goes out and does whatever he wants to and comes back home and lays next to me. I'm okay with that. I'm not the one who's getting hurt because I'm in love with Leo. It's okay. But how you talk?
But now, let's twist that around.
Okay.
Now it's you that doesn't want to have sex with him, and he's okay with it, but yet you still go out and go have sex with somebody else.
If he's
That's what I'm
okay,
talking about being
okay.
selfish.
If he's okay with it, then there's no problem. If it doesn't hurt him, if he understands what I'm doing, if he understands, if I walk out that door, someone's leg's gonna be up or my leg's gonna be up, it's gonna be okay. He doesn't have a problem with it.
Cool.
My leg's ain't gonna be up. But go on.
Okay, so I'm gonna add a little something to this because when I first found out what the topic was, and Leo had a really good question for me after I told him something, and I'm gonna tell y'all because I'm pretty much an open book. I don't hide anything. I think most people know that. I have been with the same partner for 32 years, okay? And I love her with everything I have. Now, we're getting up there. If one of us was to die, or if she was to die and leave me alone, more than likely I wouldn't want to have another partner. You know, you don't spend that much time with somebody and then just go straight back into something else. But if I decide, if some time passes, I can't tell you that I would not go with the man. I can't tell you that. And that doesn't make me bisexual in my book. That's why I have issues with the letters. That doesn't make me bisexual. That makes me open to a relationship. And what matters for me is, did you make me laugh? Did we joke about everything, and some things were offensive, but you and I were okay with that because we have a warped sense of humor. Do you like scary movies? Are you willing to try different restaurants, Indian, Ethiopian? That's the attraction. That right there is the attraction. If you've got all that going for you and you just happen to be the first one that walked up to me before some woman with the same thing, I may give you a chance. And so I told Leo, I said, I cannot call myself entirely one way or entirely the other. I said, I don't use the term lesbian on myself most of the time. Other people do, but I don't. And Leo says, so is it the attraction of the head or the heart? I'm not sure, probably a combination of both. But I cannot swear that I will be one way or the other. That's just me. Because I have had boyfriends in the past, you know, boyfriends who've said, hey, let's get married and everything. Something was just not right, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't be right now. You know, I can't say that. I don't know that. So I don't close the door at any potential opportunity that may bring me another, whatever time I have left, 20 years or something, happiness.
50 years.
Okay, 50, yes, because I'm young.
You're giving them help.
And so, you know, I guess that is where my issue with the letters comes in, because I think that, you know, people often close the door to something that's really super or really fantastic, but you know, but she has a label, so she has to be this way. I don't know. When I was with my boyfriends, I know I was always looking at the girls. I know that for a fact. It didn't mean I wanted to be with them, but my eyes sure went that way, you know. And so I guess for me is I'm learning, you know, I guess somewhere in there Leo has paperwork that says I have a title or I'm something new now. I don't know, you know, what it is, but
Yeah.
according to Leo's list, I'm something different now. And I thought I was just like, you know, loving on whoever loves me and treats me the right way. I've been very fortunate to have someone for the last 32 years.
Yes, Jay?
Milton says exactly what you're saying. It says it great. It says sexuality is fluid. It's society that puts us in the box.
I agree. I totally agree with
Well, I don't. I just feel that everybody has their own opinion. How they want to, I guess, introduce themselves, how they want to present themselves. I do believe in someone being a lesbian, someone being bisexual, someone being gay, some being whoever they want to be. I believe in that. And like I said, I respect anybody. I respect everybody's opinion. But in my opinion, I just feel everybody needs a title. That is me. And not just to figure out who you are. It's just, that's how I always grew up as. Growing up, and it's most weird, it's not weird to me, it's weird to a lot of people. My parents had different bedrooms. My grandparents had different bedrooms. When I was with Jeff, we had different bedrooms. When I was with Freddie, we had different bedrooms. When I was with So-So, I had different bedrooms. That's the way I grew up. It doesn't mean I don't want to sleep with you. It doesn't mean I don't love you, but that's the way I grew up. And the way I grew up, my father always said, you're straight, you're gay, you're bisexual. Simple as that. And so I grew up as being bisexual because I had my girlfriend, I had my boyfriend. I finally got married to my wife. After 3 years, we got divorced because she did not know how to cook. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I had no kids with her, but I adopted 3 beautiful kids growing up. I was a dad. So now I'm who I am now. But I just feel everybody has a title and everybody deserves a title. That's who you are. But I respect where you're coming from. I'm not going to go and say, hey, you're a lesbian no matter what, or you're bisexual no matter what. It's who you want to how you want to define yourself, how you see yourself. Yes?
So I guess my question is I'll go with Sylvia. I don't like labels. I don't like them. I just don't like them. It drives me insane. I'm a biological female. It drives me insane when people say, no, you're cisgender. Nope, I'm a biological female. I was born with a vagina. That's just the way it is. But I guess if you say that everyone has a label or deserves one, are you meaning like everybody's lesbian, gay, bi, straight? Because if that's the case, then what makes you an individual?
That's what makes you who you are.
But then
To me, it makes who you are. Okay. A guy who wants to be a female, what do you call that?
Male to female trans.
Okay. A guy who wants to be a female only at home. No one knows about it. What do you call that?
A cross-dresser.
Okay. Everybody has a title. No matter who you are. No matter what you do, everybody has a title. To me, I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're straight, gay, bi, or God knows what. No matter who you are a person. That's true. But everybody, to me, has a title. But I'm not going to go up to you and say, hey, are you straight? Are you bi? Are you gay? I'm not. Are you a lesbian? I'm not going to do that. But in my eyes, you are a person. And that's who you're going to be. But behind that person, you are who you are. No matter what you like, that's what you're going to be. That's the way I see it. I don't go around and saying Santiago is bisexual. I don't go around saying Wayne's gay. I don't do that. But I know where they stand. I know who they are. I know what they like. So to me, everybody has a title. But I'm not going to go up to someone and label you. Do you understand what I mean?
No,
To me, I respect you enough not to label you, but in my eyes, you still have a label over your head.
But I'm just saying, if there were, and I'm not going to assume anything, but I'll take 6 guys in here and say that they happen to be gay. Then what differentiates them? If you're giving them that label, then are they all the same?
Everybody's the same. We all are the same, but we all have a label. We all bleed the same. No matter what color skin we are, or no matter where we are from, what part of the world we are all the same. I've never gone up to someone and say, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're black, you're Asian. I don't do that. I feel everybody is the same person. I don't look at colors. I don't look where you're from. But I also believe that everybody has a label on them. And so to me, the respect is there for everybody, no matter who you are. Yes?
Yeah, Mark, are you meaning that we should be proud of who we are? Is that what you mean?
I mean, everybody should be proud.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you're not, this is why you see it. Everybody should be proud. If you're not proud, there is something wrong. There is an issue that you're having with yourself. I don't care if you're straight. I don't care if you're gay or you're bisexual. You should be proud of who you are. I don't care your religion. Everybody knows I do not believe in religion. Everybody knows who knows me, I do not believe in a God. But you know what? I live in church here. I come in probably once or twice a month to volunteer with my better half, who actually works here at Live in Church. I'm here at church. But you see, I come because I respect the religion. I respect the pastor. I respect my partner that was here. That's why I come. I've gone to other churches and people will say, oh, you need to be this, oh, you need to be that. Don't try to change who I am, because this is who I am. I respect everybody. I respect everybody's religion, no matter if I don't believe in one. To me, everybody is special in their own eyes. In my eyes, everybody in this room is special. No matter who you are, I love you in my own special way. I care for you guys. I create this group because I believe in myself. I believe in Roy, who passed away before we could have started this group. This group was created because of Roy, my true best friend. I would see him every single day, 3 times a day. I would feed this man every morning, bring him lunch and bring him dinner. He had money to do that, but he chose to go a different route, to do drugs, to drink. That was more important to him. But you know, I looked over that and I respected the man because he always been there for me. He always loved my kids. He always asked about my kids. No matter how high he was, no matter how drunk he was, he would ask how I was doing. He would make that time, God knows how, to call to see how I was and how my family was. That's why I respected that man. And the day that we sat down at 3 a.m, a week before he passed away, we talked about the group. And this is what he wanted, this vision, to get a bunch of people of every race, of every color, of every religion together and believe in something. Believe in helping other people. And I found a group of people here in my board and people who join us who believe in that. I love these guys. I love them to death. And I might not remember their names. I'm horrible with that, and they know that. But you know what? I respect every single one of you guys who walked into this room, walked into my house, and respected me because you know what? I had a vision, and you guys had a vision to make this work.
We have 3 questions.
Go ahead. Okay, what's that?
Well, real quick, personally, labels for me, I would say that in my early 20s, it helped me a lot with, well, I grew up also, you know, being like you're one thing or the other, you're black or white, and not in that aspect, but you know. It helped me a lot with, I guess, hookups I had at the time, which, I mean, you know, we had previously kind of discussed, you know, hey, you know, this is what's up with me, what's up with you type of shit. It helps with, like, I guess, taking that respect and growing it out, like, as far as, like, if I was messing around with a bisexual guy or a straight guy who was bi-curious or something, it helps to, you know, mentally settle me to be like, all right, I need to not treat this guy like the way that I see him. Like, I'm gay, like, I see him, I'm like, oh my God, you're a dummy, whatever. But I need to, like, show up out and be like, hey, respect him, where is he coming from? What can or can't throw him through the loop? Now, as far as, like, fluidity, that's something that is new to me, but has impacted me, I guess, kind of my whole life. I've always identified as gay. I've always wanted to like men. I occasionally look at a woman or two. I guess thinking about bi-curiosity. Never been there, but I don't know, like lately the whole fluid thing with me is like, I still know I'm gay, but I'm at a point where I'm like, I see a dude, I like him, but it's no longer like a sexual thing. It's just very, not even hard, it's just not about sex anymore. It's all about in that connectivity, and I guess that's where fluidity has impacted my life to be like, well, you know, it's not just about one thing or another, it's about, I guess, the whole package as far as like how far you can help each other in your daily life, not one thing or another. Because when it comes to labels, I feel like it just comes down to the bedroom. When it is that, it's no longer about y'all's wives, it's about those 15 to whatever, however minutes you take to be with each other in that way. Other than that, I don't think the labels really matter.
I was just gonna, from a test counselor's point of view, I mean, I'm kind of in a way sometimes like you, Sylvia, like, oh my God, all these labels, I gotta keep them in my head, you know, it's a lot to learn. And sometimes I want to keep it simple, you know, and then sometimes I feel like this old fuddy-duddy, you know what I mean? And forms they have to fill out, these consent forms to get tested, and we're trying to include everybody, and sometimes we don't, you know. And then we have to take all, you know, these like classes about learning about all these different things, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, you know, it's like, you know, wishing for some simplicity. But at the same time, it's like a lot of younger people are coming up, and these things are very, very important to them. So we're just really trying our best to like to make them feel comfortable and to like say, hey, this is how you want to present yourself or talk to yourself right now. And it might not change. You might feel different like in 5 years or whatever. But we just try to like our best. What I know you do too, so is like just to be like, okay, you know, we're just here to help you and protect you and get you checked out or get you into care.
Right.
Do you think, you mentioned labels, we're doing this for them. Do you think that's where labels are coming from? Is because we want to make a younger generation feel more comfortable, more safe in being who they are? Do you think that's why we're coming up with these labels?
I don't see it just as trying to make the younger people feel comfortable, because I see that fight being embraced at a lot of different levels. Let's just say human rights campaign. You know, that's run by a lot of older people typically, and other groups like that. And so it's the older people who are running these organizations who are advocating also. So I don't think they're just doing it on behalf of the younger people. I think they're doing it on behalf of everybody. And so I know Santiago wants to say something, but just quickly, let me say something to Anna. One of the things, Anna, that I did when I was doing testing was ask the clients, you know, because I don't like which one do you identify as? Right. You know, one of my questions as a tester was, you know, so when you have sex, is it with males, females, male and female at the same time? You know, blah, blah, blah. And this way they're given the choice of telling me who the person, you know, what persons are. And that leads me into another opening to where now that you've said male and female, you know, let's talk a little bit about what kind of sex you have with the male. Assuming you're a male or female, I don't care if you'd come in. I'd ask you, you know, are you having sex with males and females? So Anna, if you're having sex with a male, you know, can you tell me, you know, anal, la la la. If you're having sex with a female, is it just you know, going down on her, you know, fingering? What is it? Are you receptive? Are you what is it? I have to ask all those questions and see, I'm not labeling you. I'm just asking you about your sex practices. And I think that's where we get a little hung up, is because a lot of those words are attached to a sexual practice. You know, like the asexual, you don't have sex. Something else, you know, because you have sex with women. The other one, you have sex with men and women, you know, and la la la. It's like, I think we've attached a lot of the sexual component to those words. Okay, Santiago, I've said what I had to. Go ahead. I know it's killing you.
You just think I'm having No, actually, I just looked it up. As of December 2019, there are 46 identities.
Oh.
Yeah, way too many, and he has the rest of them. But I feel that we are babying the millennials or the future Group Z, whatever. That we're making it too easy for them. That they're feeling entitled for everything.
But you know what? It's not on.
So this is where I'm going to step in. Because, well, I think I am a millennial, but, you know, both Sylvia and Santiago make a really good point. It does seem like a lot of the youth, especially Gen Zers, are wanting to find their place in the world and are creating these categories to find their place in the world. But as I mentioned earlier, you know, the asexual groups that I follow, there are plenty of older men, older women in their 50s, 40s, who are just now identifying themselves as asexual or graysexual or anything that fits under that spectrum. And they are glad and proud that they were able to figure out who they were, because throughout their entire life, while they were going through these sexual changes or emotional changes, they didn't know what was going on, and so being able to find
Who they are.
being able to find a word that says, okay, this is what you might be, it not only empowered them to brace that identity and tell their partners, but it's also given them the confidence to finally be like, oh, okay, everything that I went through is because I'm this. You know, it's not because I'm broken. It's not because, you know, I was made different or I'm a misfit. It's because this is who I am. And so it gives them validation for all the trials and tribulations that they've gone through throughout their entire life.
So Leo, are you saying, and I'm sticking to what you're saying, so if I didn't call myself asexual, I can't just say I don't want to have sex? I mean, I guess that's where my issue is.
But if you don't want to have sex, yeah, then it fits you.
But why do I have to have a name for it? I just don't want to have sex with you.
I
sex
just,
with anybody. Not for real here.
I feel everybody needs a label. That is my opinion. And I know you guys don't agree with me. I just feel that everybody needs a label for who you are. It is, like you said, there were how many labels?
46.
46 labels. Probably now there's more than 46, perhaps, because it seems like every month or two there is something new being created by guys. Thank you. Love you. It seems like every single time there's a label. With me, it's okay. I don't have a problem with that. A lot of, like you said, the older generation are actually finding themselves now who they are because they couldn't when they were growing up. They could not define who they were when they were growing up because it was totally wrong. Now it's not, I'm not saying it's 100% acceptable for who you are, but it's okay to come out, to say this is who I am. Now there's laws to protect you. There is people who's going to stand behind you. You turn on the TV, there's a gay character here, there's a trans here, blah, blah, blah. It's everywhere now because it's now more acceptable. At that time, it wasn't. So now the older generation, like me, Sylvia doesn't define herself as nothing, but I do. I'm not saying that growing up, I couldn't be who I was because I could be exactly, I was who I was. I walked into my mom's house and my dad's house with my boyfriend. And that's how they found out. I took them to my room. It's not I did not respect my parents, but my parents allowed me to be who I was and did not put me down. My parents were okay with it because this is the way I see it. No matter if my parents don't sleep in the same room, in the same bedroom, they must have, because there's 7 of us. Okay? They get it one way or the other. Okay? My father always said, if you're a man, be a man. If you're a lady, respect yourself. Okay? As a man growing up, if I wanted to suck dick, excuse my language, or I wanted someone to suck my dick, a guy, that was okay. Okay? If I wanted to be with a female, that was okay too, in my father's eyes. My mother always told me, respect who you are and respect who you're going to be with. And I did. Yes, Benjamin?
What is asexual?
Huh?
What is asexual?
I can't hear you.
What is asexual?
Okay.
So asexuals are people who identify as not having an urge to have sex with people.
What about animals?
I was just thinking
That's a whole other category.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is pansexual?
Pansexual.
I've actually heard that phrase before.
I believe pansexual is when you are attracted to their intelligence.
I thought that was somebody who wanted sex no matter what. Man, woman.
Okay, so a pansexual is an individual who can experience sexual, romantic, or emotional attraction to any person regardless of their gender, sex, or sexuality.
Well, now I'm a pansexual.
like
King
Debbie,
out.
Debbie said, that's Debbie
You
said.
see? Now you know.
What about cissexual? The CIS sexual?
That's cisgender?
That just means you like to have sex with a person who is born a female who identifies as a female, or a guy who's a man born as a man who identifies as a man.
Cissexual or cisgender? Cisgender means that you are in the body you were born in. Like you are cisgender because you were born a male, you're still a male. Someone trans would not be cisgender, okay? Because okay, trans is not cisgender, so you would be cisgender because you have all the parts you were born with.
Unless you're non-binary, right?
And then, yeah.
Does that also mean that you want to stay the gender you are?
Yes.
That's what transgender means.
Transgender, you've changed genders. You're male to female, or female to male. Cisgender, just Jace, you would be a cisgender gay male. Cisgender gay white over 50 male. You know, see, that's the part I'm talking about with the labels.
Oh my God.
So I do want to touch up on something that you said earlier, Sylvia, about these labels and how you're putting them on people, and especially without having any conversations or whatever. So I think that these labels are something that should be used if you're single and looking for somebody, because it will help the person that you're talking to know, like, okay, so I identify as gray sexual, so that means there may be some days where I want to have sex with you, but there may be days where I don't. And at least it gives them that inkling, like, okay, this is how that person is. Let me figure out if I actually want to date this person or not. Now, with those individuals who are married and have kids and are identifying as asexuals or gray sexuals or what have you, of course, they have to have conversations with their partners, and it'll be very tough. I'm sure. I've read that there are some that are worried that they won't be together anymore because one partner is extremely sexual whereas the other one isn't, and it's a big worry in the community. So in terms of that sense, it can be a tricky situation to kind of walk through, but if you got with that person for the right reasons, then hopefully that won't be an issue.
Okay, but he just said there's 46 labels. So if you come up to me, and you tell me you're a, I don't know, whatever sexual, and I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, then we've already started the conversation off on the wrong path. Well, this is how, just when
Why
you say
can you not just ask, I do not know what that means?
That's exactly, I would just rather ask you,
Yes.
period, but not what kind of sexual.
John?
Okay. Should I use the word label?
You can
Sure.
use, yes.
Okay, so don't some of these labels mean the same thing as another label?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. A lot
So-
of them.
So why do we have to have all these different ones that
Right.
sound better?
So years ago, even to this day, I've always been attracted to older men, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is there a label for that?
Probably.
Probably
Daddy
will.
chaser.
If there's not, we will create one. Go on.
Actually, sure, just noticed something. She says, you're not forced to label yourself. So that means
You're what?
you're not forced to label yourself.
No one's
You see,
forced.
if you don't want to label for yourself,
You see,
you don't have to be labeled.
okay, no one could force you to label yourself. No one can. Okay? You are who you are, like I said earlier. But in my eyes, everybody has a label. But I'm not going to go up to you, like I said, hey, what's your label? I mean, do you understand? I'm not going to do that. What do you define yourself as? It's just everybody is totally different. And like I said, I respect if you don't want to have a label, Santiago, don't have a label. But in my eyes, I know who you are. In my eyes, you're bisexual. But I'm not going to say, hey, I'm not going to go up to everybody and say, hey, this is my bisexual friend, Santiago. I'm not going to do that.
I do that.
I know you do, bitch. But
Okay, so I do kind of want to touch up a little bit on what John was saying with, labels being very similar, like pansexual and demisexual. I know that you were saying that. So demisexual is someone who experiences sexual attraction only under specific circumstances,
Like
such
what?
as after building a romantic or emotional relationship with the person. And so pansexual is whatever we mentioned earlier. So
Someone who just had sex with a husband.
Sylvia was
I don't know what I am anymore.
You like the movies I like, you like this I like. You just
Exactly.
happen to be a guy.
So that's a demisexual?
That's a demi.
yes, so
Ah, I was a pansexual earlier, I don't know what I am.
so it's mainly just about specificity when it comes to these labels. There are certain phrases or terms or whatever that is different between each, and that can help you to kind of like decide. Jace?
Yeah, Sasha said something very interesting. It said, yes, I may be identified as a transgender, but she checks off woman on paperwork.
Yes.
So I
Because
guess it doesn't matter what the
She
role
is.
or label is, it's gonna be how you see yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She is a woman. I mean,
This is my straight friend Michelle.
Ah.
you guys are Puerto Rican husbands.
Sasha also says that Sylvia is identified as a bumblebee.
Shut up, Sasha, I'm not going to your house on Saturday. She also says, I hate labels, but we live in a world of what are you? And we do. I think we live in a lot of worlds. What are you? Because we say, well, I want to know who you are. Do you want to know who I am or what I am? Come on, make up your mind, because you can't have it that many ways.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to, like I said, I feel everybody needs a label. Everybody is a label. But I could look at like Wayne, and Wayne to me is just gay. Yeah, it's just gay. He, I love you, but it's so simple. He's gay, and on these labels, where would he land on? Just gay?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
what-
see, because we ran out of names.
I don't know what Wayne likes. What Wayne is sexually.
The
So.
very first one.
To me, Wayne,
Advocate, a person who actively works to end intolerance, educate others, and support social equality. That's the one.
That's the one, damn it.
Oh, you saying
I'm
James?
gonna say, when I look at Wayne, I don't see gay, I don't see this, I see Wayne. That's the
So-
label I give Wayne.
So I'm Daryl. This is my brother Daryl. And this is my
My
other
other
brother.
And I just told whoever laughs is over 45 years old.
Yep.
Not a peep out of Leo.
Because he doesn't know.
Nice.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much it for today. It's around 8:30.
Okay.
But I want to thank you guys for watching. For those of you that are wondering why we're having this conversation because it needs to be had, because there are so many viewers out there that don't know who they are and need to figure it out, like myself. I was lost and I found out who I am, and I am now empowered by who I am. Just like Marc is, he bought himself a ring to help identify who he is. So thank you guys for watching, and if you guys are offended by what we talked about, I'm sorry, but
And I
That's the way
totally
it
don't know
is.
what I am anymore. I did when I walked in here.
all right, Jace, you can end.
Hold on.
I want to
John.
say something that's not a part of this conversation. Okay, I brought my friend Michelle here to experience. She's straight friend, whatever. We hang out a lot, and
She's straight
she's
sexual.
involved with a lot of nonprofits as well as I am. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the research and legwork to get this organization to be registered as a 501c3.
Thank you.
Before we go, thank you, John. Before we go, we're gonna talk quick about the quilt. Jace, I know I cannot spit it out, Jace. Where do we stand on the quilt?
We've raised a little over, I think, $1,245 on our GoFundMe. We adjusted the goal to $2,000 because we feel like the more money we get, the better quilt we're going to be able to produce. It's going to be produced as an educational tool for the youth, not just in San Antonio, but the United States and whoever else might want to see it. Of course, we're producing it to remove people who have died from HIV or AIDS-related problems. That's what we're seeing right now. We're in the process of buying materials to start producing it. We're also going to start producing a campaign, so people, if they want to buy a 6x6 square to remember somebody, we're going to start that campaign in the near future. So
In a couple of weeks, we'll have that running. If you guys want to donate to our quilt project, you can find it on my Facebook. You can find it on Living Positive Facebook, on the group. And like I know Jace, Wayne, Leo. Have you shared it yet? Why haven't you, girl? So, and the one over there laughing too. And so, you can look at our Facebooks, and if you guys want to help out, please do help out. Every dollar we raise is for good. It's to help out the youth, to bring the quilt, to have a quilt here in San Antonio. And basically that's it. Yes, John?
Michelle asked me about.
Do you guys have a PayPal or where can we go?
Actually, we do have a Cash App.
Oh, Cash
Yes.
App, okay.
Yes.
What is it? Dollar sign?
It's LPSA 210.
Dollar
Yes.
sign LPSA03092021.
Yes.
And real quick, we are going to open up another GoFundMe. I don't know if you want to mention that, but I'm going to go ahead. You want to wait?
Yes.
Okay, we'll wait. Okay.
The drag show.
April 10th, we are going to be having a drag show here at Woodlawn Church.
Woodlawn Point.
Woodlawn Point. Living Positive will be selling raffle prizes, so please come on out and buy tickets. They are $1 each or 6 for $5. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Living Positive board is going to be performing YMCA in regular clothes.
In costumes.
But not drag.
Not drag.
That's for a later event later on throughout the year. So please come on out and see us.
And support us, please.
Marc is going to do a number
with Gilbert
by Lady Gaga. So look out for that.
Can I make a tiny suggestion? With your raffle tickets, you might make additional money if you do, besides what you're doing $10, well, we say crash the floor, or we do a waste the floor, you might make, because a lot of people are like, oh, $10 waste the floor, I'll buy that, because I would buy that over $5. Just as an addition.
We're still gonna meet after this and talk more about the quilt and other stuff.
Yes.
Real quick, we also have a yard sale coming up on the 20th.
Yes, we have a yard sale here at Woodlawn Point on the 20th. There's going to be a lot of vendors here. It's going to be actually kind of fun. Hopefully, if we get enough items, Living Positive will have a table out there. And that will let you guys know in the next week or two.
Actually, next week because
in the next couple of days. So, on that note, I guess we're done.
Another couple of
Oh,
questions.
God.
I'm sorry. Next week we have Marc here with Teresa, who, by the way, is a transgender. So hopefully we can have some questions about that for her.
Trans-identifying person.
Yes, fine. I hate labels. And what else? There was something else. Oh, this Sunday, Saturday night when you go to bed, change your clocks because we fall forward. Or spring forward. Yeah, spring forward. I'm sorry. We spring forward.
What's your left and what's your right?
I have no idea.
Depends on where you're facing.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. We love you.
Love y'all.